Hey guys, today I am going to introduce you to ChainIDE Sandbox that can help you create full stack dApps using ChainIDE. ChainIDE Sandbox is just like the CMD in your local system, and you can use that to install libraries, packages, plugins, and it already has some useful plugins, libraries, and packages that are related to Web3 development such as npm, Node Package Manager, Yarn Package Manager, Ganache, hardhat, Truffle, React, and some other frameworks, libraries, and plugins. In today's demo, we will be creating a full stack dApp using the ChainIDE Sandbox with the help of hardhat and React. So let's begin by clicking here Try Now button. If we want to create a new project, we will be choosing this option, New Project. And if we already have worked on some projects, we can see that here. So I want to create a new project, I will be selecting here New Project. And we want to create a blank template. But if you want to use some other built-in templates, for example, if you want to create an ERC20 contract, you can choose the built-in templates prepared by the ChainIDE team. So I will be choosing a blank template. Here we can see the sandbox feature, and if I click here and I can see the option click to add sandbox. We can see it's just like the local CMD and it has already installed many libraries. We can confirm here npm space v, and here we can see the package Node Package Manager is already installed in it, and the version is 8.19.4, and we can confirm Yarn also. Yarn is also installed in it, and some other also like React, we can confirm that also, npm view. So we can see React is also installed in it. Except these like Ganache, hardhat, Truffle, Express, and these are already installed in this sandbox. But if you want to install any other except these ones, you can install by yourself. So now we will be using hardhat. First of all, we will set up the development environment for the hardhat. Then we will compile and deploy a smart contract on the Sepolia test network using hardhat. So let's first of all we rename this project to hardhat, and then we will set up the working environment for the hardhat. For that you can visit hardhat and check the documentation on how to create a hardhat project. Here we will be creating a working directory, and we will name it hardhat example. So we will be moving to this working directory and install the hardhat in this working directory. How to install that, we can visit the documentation here. So this is the command prompt for how to install the hardhat. This is npm install save dev hardhat, and it will be saved here in our working directory. Here some files will be added after successful execution. So let's wait for a while. Here if we refresh it again, we can see two files. And now we will start hardhat, npx hardhat. So now it has been started, and we can see the version is 2.16.1, and now we need to add some toolbox to compile and deploy our smart contract. For that we will just click here yes, and we can see here hardhat toolbox. So that is needed to compile and deploy our smart contracts. After it gets executed successfully, some new files and folders will be added here, and our working environment will be completed, and we will be able to compile and deploy our smart contract. Here we can see all the files have been added. So our environment has been successfully set up. We can see the Solidity smart contract here, and we can compile it, deploy it. So I will be choosing a very simple other smart contract, not this one. Here storage smart contract, and compiling it and deploying it. So this is the smart contract, and to compile it is very simple. We will just change the working directory to hardhat example. Sorry, there shouldn't be a space in hardhat and example. And now I will be compiling this smart contract. And to compile that, we just need to write down npm hardhat compile. We can confirm from here how to compile the smart contract. Here is deploying to a live contract and testing, writing and compiling. Here we can see how to compile the smart contract. Here we can confirm is npx hardhat compile. So we will be changing it to npx hardhat compile. So now I have changed that according to the documentation, and it will be successfully compiled. Here it is downloading the compiler using the hardhat. So here we can see compiled one Solidity file successfully, and after we refresh it, we can see the compiled file here in the contracts and storage.json. It has two main things. The first one is ABI and the second one is bytecode. Bytecode will be deployed to the EVM and will be executed whenever we make interaction with our deployed smart contract. And ABI will be used to interact with our deployed smart contract using the React front-end framework. So now we have compiled it successfully and we need to deploy it. I want to deploy it on Sepolia test network, and I have set up MetaMask just for the testing purposes. And we will have to change this file deploy.js and hardhat.config.js. So to change that, we will be visiting here deploy to a live network, and we see here we need to change the code with this code. And we want to deploy the storage smart contract, and we will be changing the name of the contract that we want to deploy. Here we want to deploy storage contract, and here we will have to change the configuration file for this. And here we can go and check the configuration file. Here we will have to copy this one configuration file and paste in our this file hardhat.config.file, and you will have to write down here Infura API key as well as Sepolia private key, as we want to deploy on the Sepolia test network. So we will be using the private key to sign transactions and to pay the gas fee when we deploy our smart contract on the Sepolia test network. So I already have filled this information in my testing environment. Here I will be just copying and pasting from this to our this environment. Now everything should be fine, and we should be able to deploy this smart contract on Sepolia test network. Here we can see how to deploy, and for deploying, here is the command prompt. We will simply copy the command prompt from the documentation and just paste it here. Here we can see the file has been compiled successfully and deployed successfully. Here is the contract address that we have deployed to Sepolia test network, and we can confirm this by visiting the Sepolia Etherscan. If we visit here, and we can simply paste the address by copying from here the contract address. I will be copying here, and then I will paste in the search bar here, and we can see the contract has been deployed 28 seconds ago. So that is how we can use ChainIDE Sandbox and some instant libraries, some plugins. Our main purpose for today's demo is to interact with our deployed smart contract and create a full stack dApp. So now we will be moving forward to creating the front end using React. So we will be needing two things when we want to interact with our deployed smart contract. The first one is the token address, this one, and the other one is the ABI code we can get from here, storage.json, and here we can see the ABI code. Here is the ABI code. We will need these two things when we want to interact with our deployed smart contract using front end. So let's set up the front end, a working environment for the React. For that, we will be creating a React project, React app. And we can name that front end. And now all the files and libraries for the React front end framework will be installed after I choose yes. Now the file is being created and we wait for a while. And once it gets downloaded successfully, we will be writing down the code in React to interact with our deployed smart contract. And we will be using Ether's library to interact with our deployed smart contract using the front end. So here we can see some new folders will be added. Here front end has been added successfully because we named the app as front end. And here more files will be added to it after it gets compiled completely. Just wait for a while. And if you are good at React, you can write down the front end by yourself. But if you are not good at React, you can ask help from the ChatGPT. Here, I have already used this smart contract to prompt from ChatGPT to create the front end in React. And we will just have to copy and paste the contract address and API code. The other things are all fine, so we don't need to change them. And if you want to add some design, you can add using CSS or some other designing frameworks. So here it is still downloading, and we can see here it has been completed, almost completed. Just wait for here we can see it has been completed, and we can change the current working directory to front end. Here we can see all the files have been added to front end. We will go to source and app.js. This is the main file we will be working with. cd front end, and here we will be pasting the code for the front end. So I have already created that, and I will be just copying and pasting. And the other thing is we need to install Ether's library. As we are using Ether's library in our React front end, here we can see Ether's, and we need to install this library using Node Package Manager. We can install this Ether's, and I will be using the version 5 for the Ethers because the recent versions have some compatibility issues. So after it gets downloaded successfully, we will be changing the contract address to the address we just deployed to this one. We'll be copying this contract address and we'll be changing here. And the ABI, we will be visiting the hardhat example, and we will be changing the ABI, copying from here and pasting in the app.js. And now it should be good to go. So let's use this sandbox and try to run this application. To run this application, we will just simply use npm start. After it gets executed successfully, now we can see it is starting the development server, and we will be able to interact with this ChainIDE port manager. We will add a port after it is compiled successfully. Let's wait for a while. It is giving some suggestions Here we can access this at 3000 port. So we will be visiting 3000 port by clicking here. Here we can see the front end created using React, and we are interacting with our deployed smart contract using the smart contract address as well as the ABR. So here we can click on connect MetaMask, and here we should be able to store and retrieve values from and to the blockchain. So whenever we store some data to the blockchain or whenever we make interaction to the blockchain, we need to pay some gas fee. And when we retrieve data, then we don't need to pay gas fee. So we stored and we need to pay some gas fee using MetaMask. And when we retrieve, here the value hasn't been updated successfully yet. Let's wait for a while. And here we can see the value has been updated successfully. And that was a very simple smart contract to store and retrieve values. The main purpose was to introduce the ChainIDE Sandbox feature. All the libraries, all the plugins, frameworks are already installed in it. As we saw, we didn't have to download anything in our local system. We set up everything in the ChainIDE. We didn't have to leave the ChainIDE for the full stack dApp development. So ChainIDE Sandbox has made it very easy. Give it a try today. Reach us with your feedback in our social media channels on Discord or Twitter, and follow us on Twitter for more updates and features regarding ChainIDE. Thanks for watching and have a great day.